I am your maid. I'm the one who cleans your hotel room, who enters like a phantom when you're out gallivanting for the day, no care at all about what you've left behind, the mess, or what I might see when you're gone. When I'm done with my work, I leave your room pristine. Your polished mirror reflects your face of innocence back at you. It's as though all of your filth, all of your lies and deceits have been erased. I am your maid. I know so much about you. But when it comes down to it, what is it that you know about me? Hi, welcome back and welcome to another video. I'm Fran, this is Fran Nook in the Pages, and today I would like to talk to you about my most recent read that I absolutely loved, and that is The Maid by Nita Prose. This book is about 25-year-old Molly Gray, who is a maid at the Grand Regency Hotel in New York. Her job is to restore the state of each room to perfection when she's done with it, and she loves her job. She's so good at it. However, one day she enters the suite where a famous tycoon of business is staying, Mr. Black, and she finds him dead in his bed. She immediately calls for help, but as soon as the investigations begin, she finds herself being the main suspect. And for the first time, she will have to ask for help and rely on unexpected friends to try and clear her name and point the finger against the real killer. Let me tell you right away that I thought this was going to be a mystery thriller, much more darker and traumatic, I want to say, but it really wasn't. I would say that it's more of a cozy mystery. It has an enclosed space where the majority of the events are taking place, which is at the Grand Regency Hotel, and I loved the hotel setting so much. It was so well done. We get so many descriptions of the ambience and the elegance and almost the opulence of it. There is a small-ish cast of characters that we get to know very well, very quickly, and I really got attached to some of them. We have the investigation and we see all the clues slowly coming up, and at the end, at the conclusion, there's the, I don't want to say monologue because there isn't really a monologue, but all the loose ends get tied and we find out everything that happened and how. But let me tell you, there were so many twists and turns. Even one chapter away from the end, where I thought we were just gonna have an epilogue about the characters' lives and all of that, no, we got more twists that I hadn't seen coming. I was like, whoa, that explains it. That really explains everything and how it happened, and it just blew my mind and I loved it so much. I hadn't seen it coming at all, and I loved that because it was a cozy mystery and some things you can tell what's gonna happen and who is behind certain things, but other things they really come to you as a shock, and those things are more related to the characters' lives and all of that, and it was just incredibly done. I really loved it. What was most brilliant about this book is the choice and the characterization of the main protagonist, Molly. I'm pretty sure she is on the autistic spectrum, even though it's never said on the page, but just the way she is obsessive and compulsive about certain things, such as cleaning, and the way in which she is clueless to certain things. She has a hard time interpreting certain social cues and situations in the correct way, and she is aware of that. Her grandma used to help her with that. Molly would tell her about her day and how certain people called her, and her grandma would explain to her what those words or even glances or whatever, what they meant, and Molly would learn from that. So I would say she's definitely on the spectrum, but the author was so good at not reducing her to being just dumb, which wouldn't be the case, you know, if she was on the spectrum. But the author was so good at showing us her perspective and how she was misinterpreting the situations, what she was actually seeing and perceiving, and at the same time kind of making us understand, making the reader understand what was actually actually happening and what was that Molly wasn't quite grasping, and the disconnect between those two things. The reader, at least I'm speaking for myself of course, doesn't really get bothered by the cluelessness and the ingenuity and innocence that Molly has. And at the end, Molly is able to use her disadvantage, if we want to call it that way. She's able to use it to actually make sure that the police arrests the right person who is responsible for the murder and also for a drug trafficking that was going on in the hotel. There was a very nice spin to it, because in the end it's Molly's attention to details and her being so precise that helps everyone figure out who is really behind the murder. I absolutely loved Molly. I loved her found family and the dynamics between all of them. I absolutely loved her relationship with her Gran. Even if her Gran had already passed away before the beginning of the book, we really get to know her words of kindness, of wisdom, through Molly's eyes, through her flashbacks and recollections of her grandmother, and her grief because she's missing her so much. It was always the two of them against the world, the two of them being a team and all of that. And it was just so sweet, and I loved everything about this book. It was sweet, it was quirky, there was a nice engaging mystery and so many twists and turns, and the audiobook was incredible. I listened to this one, and the narrator, Lauren Ambrose, she was incredible. She was perfect. She really gave Molly her voice. A character like her would sound like the voice that Lauren Ambrose was giving to her, if that makes any sense. It was just absolute perfection. The only thing that I didn't like about this book, and it's related to the audiobook part, is how Lauren Ambrose was pronouncing the name of Juan Manuel. He is a character, he's the kitchen boy, and he becomes a friend of Molly, and he is pretty important in the story. His name is repeated many times, and every time Lauren Ambrose would pronounce his name as Juan Manuel, as if it's Juan Manuel and not Juan Manuel, which is how, you know, Latinx people would pronounce the name. I don't think it's a hard name to pronounce, and the way in which she was pronouncing it, it was so pronounced, you know? And I'm gonna stop saying that word because it's lost every meaning at this point. But yes, that was the only flaw. I mean, there are other flaws. Yes, we have so much going on. We have drug trafficking, we have domestic abuse, euthanasia, illegal immigration, and even more, so trigger warnings for those things. But at the same time, they're not supposed to be thoroughly explored in such a book. This is more of a cozy mystery with those things, and in the way in which they were present, it was totally fine by me. It wasn't a literary fiction, it wasn't a dissertation about those topics. It really wasn't, because I've seen some complaints about that on Goodreads, and I don't really get it, because that wasn't the point of the story, it wasn't the point of the book, it wasn't the point of the mystery. It was just supposed to be very twisty and engaging and fun to read and entertaining, and it absolutely was all of that. So I would totally recommend this book. I would totally recommend the audiobook because it was fantastic. I loved the autistic representation because Molly is definitely on the spectrum, and I loved the found family, I loved the mystery, I loved all the twists and turns, and I loved it, and I would recommend it. I give it 5 stars. Go pick up the audiobook of this one and enjoy. This is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments if you have read this book, if you want to. If you have read it, what did you like about it? Please let me know in the comments because I would love to know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. You can click on the bell icon if you want to get notified whenever I upload a new video. You can follow me on social media, befriend me on Goodreads and Storygraph. I'm trying to write the review of every book that I read, so you will find everything there if you want to follow me. I have a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. You will find all this information, as always, in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon in another video, but until then, have a good one, take care, and keep reading. Warm hugs. Bye!